Hello friends, my name is Matthew Tinney and I'd like to talk with you today about making a painting to get through a artist's block or to make something without having a preconceived notion of what it should be in order to really enable a creative flow to continue to happen. Now, I just completed a series of over 30 paintings, and they were all, very similarly themed. And while it was extremely rewarding and um, a really productive time, I felt a slowdown happen after that, and the creative flow kind of stopped. And so, I found myself making various kinds of work after that, and kind of going into it without, having a really solid, cohesive direction that I wanted to continue to produce. And eventually that led to kind of a creative block, I guess. And, feelings of, what am I going to do next? And, what kinds of ideas am I going to have? And, really all of that, um, it kind of feels unnecessary in some ways because I think really, at least for me, a lot of being creative, a lot of, um, the main point of painting is really to get outside of yourself. And that kind of had me locked inside my mind. And that's one thing I've found with really having, an idea or a direction that you want to go in, or, that I'd like to go in with something, is that, oftentimes that really locks the mind into expecting results and needing to create something and putting boundaries around that. And so, that for me really blocks my creative flow in a lot of ways and can have me, starting to question, um, you know, what I'm really getting out of it. And, it ultimately is really um, um, something that inhibits those good feelings that come from a painting, that feeling of um, joy in creating something, and being more focused on the beauty of what's being created, and so being distracted from that beauty um, and oftentimes lead me to feeling that kind of artist block that many artists seem to tend to feel from time to time. I don't want to say anything too definitive about other people and their process, but I know, through my own process that I've found that when there is a sense of surprise that comes from the painting, like it is, an unexpected gift that for me comes from, these sort of mystical realms or sort of transcendental realms that really can't be easily described or explained. Um, that's really what I'm going for, is the joy of discovery and just being knocked out by the sheer um, beauty and getting lost in the creative flow. And for me, that's a lot like meditation, where it eases my mind from the day-to-day living, the pressures of life and the need to, you know, dedicate a certain amount of energy towards sustaining myself, in terms of being able to pay the bills and all of those distractions. And so I've found that when I can get past those feelings, that my artist blocks tend to not be so prolonged. And so what I have here is a painting that I just made. Really, it's the start of a painting. It's maybe the map of what the painting will be, and it's an underpainting. And I really like working with something that's just been created out of that unblocked mental flow. And I've found that that will perpetuate itself into an actual finished piece. And I've been so much happier and satisfied with these pieces that have just come out of an uninhibited creative flow. And so that's really what I'm trying to encourage here or show you. In many ways, I think these paintings can really lead to something that's just so much more rewarding. And, really, actually, I think the main point I'm trying to make here is that these paintings are a way of releasing that pent-up energy. It's a way to let go of all of those strenuous and kind of tight feelings, those boxed-in feelings. And so this is my form of release, my form of therapy, my form of meditation. And, oftentimes if I'm feeling frustrated, I can get it all out on a canvas like this and just let go. And I've found that that works with feelings that don't even have anything to do with, with making art or with the day-to-day art routine. That those feelings are really, feelings that come from, day-to-day living. Comes from, the expectations that we may place on ourselves. Certainly know it's part of releasing my expectations on myself and allowing myself to be free. And so that's really what I wanted to show you, was that, I don't think art has to come from a preconceived notion of any kind of reality. That it can be a releasing of a construct of reality. And in that way, it's really a way that, I can serve myself to get beyond the blocks that I may feel from anything. And so, I wanted to share this form of therapy with you. And I also wanted to point out this other painting here. Now, this was one that came about through that process. And it's really nearing completion. And it's all about release and rising above. And there are so many layers to it. You can really see when you're up close to it, um, the texture of the paint that's been covered up, and it all came together in a cohesive way that I didn't expect from the beginning. And, um, I finally just allowed it to be what I saw kind of coming through in these textures and shapes. And so that actually brought about this more structured idea of what the painting is. And what it is there's this great dove, almost like an albatross, maybe an albino albatross. And this albatross is eclipsing a great light and radiating out these ripples of kind of essence. And it's kind of shredding the light and scattering it over its path as it flies, rising above. And so this painting, this one took me over a year, and I've come back to it from time to time. And these paintings, they really allow me to let go and have something to continue to work on when I have a block. Something that I don't have to make it be anything or have an idea of what it should be. And so it's amazing really how that can come around into a complete piece. And I've got to say, my favorite work, I think my best work, though they're all, individual kind of one-off paintings, they've come about in these ways because I've just let them be and enjoyed the process of discovery and really enjoyed having something that I can just work on without it needing to be anything, because there's so much day to day that just needs to be, and that's just the way it is in this in this world, in this here and now. But there are ways to get beyond that, and there's ways to release that. And this painting here is the beginning of that process. And I'm going to continue to work on it. Going to continue to work on it tomorrow, and it gives me something to release all of my boxed up energy and my boxed up feelings and thoughts, and to just let go of it. And so it's my form of meditation, and it doesn't have to be anything, and it always turns out as truly the most amazing work that I create. And that is because I just allow it to be. So I hope this helps you, and I hope that you can find your own ways to be creative like this. And just remember, art doesn't have to be anything that we think it should be or that anyone says it has to be. There are just so many ways to be creative, and really I think that is the key, is getting beyond these preconceived notions that have been, handed down to us. And it's not to say that those are bad. It's not to say that I don't even, appreciate them or utilize them, because I do. And in a lot of ways, I really do hold those values as something that's important to me. The structure and the basics of what art is. Um, but I think it's important to get beyond that because of the factor of it being such a huge release. And I know for myself that that is just so needed. And, right now, I can honestly tell you that I feel so much more calm and free and open. And, you know, I'm able to express these ideas with you here now. And, for me, that's really saying a lot. So I appreciate you, and um, I hope to be able to offer more very soon and as time goes on. And so thank you.